Two rectangular solids, a cube A and cuboid B, are shown in the diagram below. The edges of cube A have length x centimeters, where x is a real number. Cuboid B has dimensions 5 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and y centimeters, where y is a real number. So, first thing that you might look at this question, these might be really confusing. So, why does it have to be a real number? So, don't worry about that at all. So, it's just a way of saying that it's a real number. So, mathematically speaking, they have to put it down. If you completely ignored the where x, where y parts, you'd be completely fine. So if those parts confuse you, don't worry about it. So let's have a look at part A here. So the volume of A is 216 centimeters cubed. Find the value of x. So let's look at how we approach it. So whenever we deal with the volume or the area, first thing that needs to pop into your head is, what is the formula for this specific shape? So for cubes, the formula is very simple. It's just length by width by height. That's for cubes and cuboids. So length by width by height, that's our formula. In this case, our length and width by and height, I'm just going to draw it out. Here we have a bit more space. So it's going to be x, which is our length, multiplied by x, which is our width, multiplied by x, which is our height. Now, x by x by x, that's the same as x cubed. So what I can say is x cubed is equal to 216. And then all I have to do is get the cubed root of both sides. So the cubed root of here, cubed root of here. These cancel each other out. And then the cubed root of 216, let's see what that will give us. So cubed root of 216, that's going to be 6. So x is going to be equal to 6 centimeters. That's our answer to part A. Now, for part B, part 1, we have to show that the surface area of B is 22y plus 60 centimeters squared. So here we're looking at the surface area. So what I'm going to be doing is I want to find the area of this, area of this, and area of this. So because we already use A and B, let's use C, D, E. So I'm going to call this side C, side D, side E. But then you might think, okay, what about the ones behind? So the one sort of behind C to the bottom and then to the left. All I have to do is get the surface area of C, D, and E and then multiply by 2. Because if you think about the ones behind, there'll be exact copies of C, D, and E. So I'll just find these and multiply it all by 2. So first let's do C. So it'll be the bottom here, y, multiplied by 5. So it'll be 5y. And because we're adding separate areas, they're not related in any way, we're just going to add them on. So 5y plus 6 by 5, which is going to be 30, plus 6 by y, which is going to be plus 6y. So I'm just going to add all of these together, which is going to be 11y plus 30. And now think back to sort of multiplying all of those by 2, so doubling for the other side. So I'm going to do 2 by 11y plus 30, which is going to be 22y plus 60 in brackets, and we'll work with area, so centimeters squared. So that's our answer to part B. Okay, then for part 2, for B part 1, that was our answer. So for B part 2, the surface area of B is 269 centimeters squared. Work out the value of y. Okay, this is pretty easy. We just have to do a bit of algebra. So we're going to say we found that the surface area is 22y plus 60. Even if you couldn't do part 1, if you couldn't get it, you can still use that because they actually give it to you in the question. So we do 22y plus 60 is equal to 269. What we're doing is really obvious because we have shown that the surface area of B is this, and then we're told that the surface area of B is this. So we're saying the surface area of B is equal to the surface area of B in a nutshell. So we're saying they're the same, but we have it written in two different terms. So we can say 22y plus 60 is equal to 269. What I'm going to do is I'm going to minus 60 from both sides. So we want to make sure that we just have the letters on one side, all the numbers on the other side. So we're going to get 22y is equal to 209. Now we want to get y by itself. So we know that 22y's is 209. So in order to get what 1y is, we have to divide both sides by 22, which will give us an answer of 9.5 centimeters. And it's centimeters because if we go back here, y was a measurement. So that's why we give it in centimeters. Okay. Then to finish it off, we have part C. The area of three faces of a different cuboid are shown in the diagram below, not this scale. The dimensions of this cuboid are L centimeters by M centimeters by P centimeters, where L, M, and P are all whole numbers. So this is an important part, all whole numbers. So you have to work out the volume of the cuboid and give our answer in centimeters cubed. So first, let's write a few equations that we can here. So we can say M, L, so M by L will give us 96 centimeters squared. We know that L by P will give us 32, and we know that M by P, so the top, will give me 48. So that's what we know. Now, let's have a think about this. So the volume of the entire cuboid will be MLP. That will be the volume. Now, let's see what happens if we multiply all of these letters by each other. So I'm going to do ML multiplied by LP multiplied by MP. So another way of writing that is just without because the X can be confusing because we might confuse it for X instead of the multiplication that's supposed to be. So I'm going to write like this in brackets. Then I'm going to remove the brackets. So it's going to be ML, LP, MP. And now something interesting happens. So M by M will be M squared, L by L will be L squared, and P by P will be P squared. So if I multiply all of these numbers by each other, I will get M squared, L squared, P squared. Now let's look at what happens if we square this. So if we square this, we'll just get MLP, which is our volume all the way up there that we talked about in this time. So in order to get the answer for this question, we have to multiply all of these by each other and then square our answer. So it might not seem obvious at first, but if you think about what we're doing here for a while, it'll become clear why we're doing all of this. So it's just algebra, the way the sides are related to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 96 multiplied by 48 multiplied by 32. I'm going to get that on a calculator. So 96 times 48 times 32. And that will be 147456. 147456. And then if we get the square root of this, the square root of answer, that will give us a nice round number of 384 centimeters cubed. So that's our volume of the cuboid.